Good evening, barflies and lounge lizards, and welcome to something, well, brand new for the channel, and that is a haul video. Something I've never done, at least not in this reality. So basically, I'm just going to be going through what I got for Christmas this year. It's going to be super glary and super boring. Enjoy! Okay, so I'll do the best I can with the glare, but I just still have not figured out how to shoot this kind of stuff without the terrible glare from my lighting. Okay, so first we're going to start with the toys I got this year. And you'll see, kind of a Mego Christmas. I got the 14-inch Creature, the 14-inch Gorn, and the, 8-inch Cornelius from Planet of the Apes. I'm not going to talk too much about the 14-inch guys because I actually, maybe, possibly, probably, can't say for sure, going to have reviews coming up on those very shortly. And by shortly, I mean the next couple of months. But mainly, let's just talk about Cornelius. I am so glad that Mego is kind of made this comeback, because in recent years I've just really gotten to where I prefer kind of retro and retro looking toys over the like super cool, expensive, articulated-y kind of stuff. Give me the Mego-y kind of stuff. And for the price point, you can just not beat the Mego stuff. I mean, for example, these 14-inch Creature and the Gorn, less than $40. A Black Series Star Wars figure is over $20. I mean, just put that in perspective. But anyway, that's not what this is about. So I got the Cornelius finally. And this is cool because I have wanted a Mego Cornelius for years. I actually, several years back, went searching for a vintage one. And, well, that didn't go very well. But they re-released it with this new Mego line, and it is very cool. Oh, glare. Oh, look at that. Alright, so now let's take a look at some of the movies I got this year. Actually, just kidding. We're going to start with comics. And the first comic I got is the second volume of the Usagi Yojimbo series. It's interesting because it's a smaller graphic novel than most of them. I mean, still big, but not quite the normal size. But anyway, this is something I've been wanting to dig into for a long time, really since childhood when I first discovered Usagi with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles connection. But especially in recent times, I've gotten really kind of been on a samurai movie kick, and just kind of goes hand in hand. But yeah, a Samurai Rabbit, good old school independent black and white comic. And I don't know, there's just something about black and white indie comics that I just love. There's an absolute charm to them. And the next graphic novel I got is actually He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. And this is actually a series from several years back where they bring all the different versions of He-Man, at least I think it's all the different versions of He-Man, from across the different multiverse to team up to take on, I guess, different Skeletors. We have the Filmation one, we have the movie Dolph Lundgren He-Man, all kinds of stuff. It's supposed to be pretty good. Yeah, see, there's the Filmation guy right there. Motu is something I guess I've talked a little bit about on the channel, but the DC comic is from a couple years back, fantastic. One of the, if not the best, adaptation of Masters of the Universe yet. So I'm quite looking forward to this one, and hopefully the He-Man from that comic makes an appearance in this one. Okay, now moving on to the movies I got this year. Actually, before I talk about the movies, I want to mention the very cool but top secret pajamas my sister got me this year. I'm actually wearing them now, but like I said, they're top secret, so I can't actually show you them. But so, first movie, or one of the first movies I got, I actually bought this for myself with a little bit of Christmas money, is Star Crash. And I know it's unbelievable, as much as I talk about that movie, that I didn't own it on DVD. I actually have had it on disc for a bunch of years, and just for whatever reason didn't get around to buying the actual copy, but I finally got it. And this is a cool one, because I didn't realize it's actually a 2-disc set. I guess the second disc is the special features, and the first disc is the film itself. And this one is cool because it has something I absolutely love, and I'm sure physical media collectors can relate: reversible cover. And actually this image is the reversible cover. This one of those cases of a stock photo where they just like, oh, well, we're just going to take that. And it had absolutely nothing to do with Star Crash. I mean, the girl on this is a redhead. And the guy's a blonde with no shirt. Doesn't really look like the Hoff at all. And the next DVD I got, which, I took it out of the plastic. This was a recommendation from Al, from Them's Fighting Words. And as I've said a zillion times, I take an Al commendation very seriously. And since he and I both have been on a samurai movie kick as of late and kind of share the same brain, even though he uses his to be a productive member of society and I just use mine for writing funny books that no one's seen yet. Either way, the Samurai Trilogy. This is actually a Criterion release of three classic samurai films from the 50s, starring, who was it? Toshiro Mifune. Yeah, these are supposed to be quite good. And then another little thing I picked up is the complete Black Sail series. It was actually on sale on Amazon for $17. The entire series, all 4 seasons. And this is a phenomenal series that really, I never hear anyone talking about it. But it's basically that kind of, I don't know if I'd say Game of Thrones-esque writing, but something along those lines, like Vikings or Last Kingdom or, again, Game of Thrones. But I'd put it more closer to something like Vikings or Last Kingdom, but about pirates. Really, really good. I was really disappointed when they canceled this one after only 4 seasons, because I think it could have gone a long ways. And now we're moving into Blu-rays. And this first Blu-ray I got here is the new batch volume of Drive-In Delirium. And Drive-In Delirium is a series of trailer compilations. I'm a big fan and collector of trailers comps. I'd say of individual sort of, collections within the DVD and Blu-ray collection of my collection, trailer comps is probably the largest. Maybe Laura Gemser movies. I'd have to kind of count, see which one's bigger, because I have a bunch of both, but yeah, one of my biggest. And this is a great series. Very, very high quality. And these jokers are long. I think this one was 6 hours, 373 minutes. It's interesting with this one too, because there's a lot of gems on here, stuff I'd never seen, but it also had the most amount of trailers I just kind of skipped over. A lot of just 70s cop movies on this one. Either way, still a lot of gems and a great volume. And then we have another one of my favorite movies and one I just didn't own on anything but disc, and I decided that needed to be changed, and that's Amazon Women on the Moon, which is a sort of sequel to the Kentucky Fried Movie. Whereas what the Kentucky Fried Movie is to 70s, this is to 80s. Oh wow, and if you haven't seen this one and you have a love of late night TV, especially 80s late night TV, this is a must see. Fantastic. And now we have another Criterion DVD, and this is Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. I saw Mr. Dick Vincent of the Oak Drive-In had posted about it, and I was like, I really need to upgrade with this one. So I finally got it. Look at that cool cover too. But it's Criterion, what do you expect? And you have the disc and nice booklet. And anybody, if you're not familiar with this one, it is not a sequel to Valley of the Dolls. It's kind of a parody, kind of, sort of. Very bizarre, but in a good way. And yet another Criterion DVD. It's interesting, I had no Criterion DVDs not even a year ago, and now I have a bunch. But Lady Snowblood, I figured it was time to do a little bit of double dipping, because I already own both films on DVD, but I need it on Blu-ray as well. And I'm sure the subtitles are better on this one, because it boasts about its new improved subtitles on this version. And I've talked about this movie already in great detail on the channel, but I wanted the Criterion Blu-ray. Great stuff. I don't know if you would count this as a samurai movie. Probably not, maybe, kind of, sort of. But anyway, it fits in sort of with the kick. And then we have Curse of the Dragon Slayer, which is kind of a low-budget fantasy film. I don't watch a lot of modern movies, but something I do enjoy as far as modern movies go is kind of the low-budget fantasy films. They don't really have the same vibe or charm as, say, 80s stuff like I cover pretty thoroughly on the channel, but I do quite enjoy the stuff like Mythica, and then this one. Let's see, is it No, I was thinking it was Aerostorm, the same people that did Mythica, but it's not. It's just its own little thing. Either way, this is a good one. And if you're anybody curious about watching this one, it seems to be streaming everywhere. And then we have something I wanted to pick up for a while, and that is the Arrow video release of The Guyver, and another awesome reversible cover, because they kind of did their own. Let's see, their own cover art. Let's show that. If you can see it, which it's neat and all, but I thought this black actual image from it was so much cooler. But with The Guyver, I was a big fan of the anime. And so when this one came out, and it being kind of quirky and light, and like I think this was even just PG-13, I was very thrown. And so even though I enjoyed it, it just wasn't one I really came back to a lot. But then the sequel came out, and they did something really interesting, kind of the reverse of what a lot of stuff did in the late 80s, or the 80s and early 90s. Whereas it was usually you'd have a darker kind of first movie, say Ninja Turtles, for example, and then the sequels would get goofier and lighter and sillier as they went. This went the opposite route, whereas the first one was kind of light and lighthearted, more kind of going for that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles audience. The second one is darker, more serious, even R-rated. So yeah, totally different. So that's the one I really clung on to back in the day. But I wanted to give this one another shot. And watching it, wow, was I wrong. It is great. It feels like if Reanimator was a superhero movie. And it makes sense because this one was produced by the same guy that did Reanimator. It even has cameo appearances by Jeffrey Combs and the gentleman, forget his name, who was the bad guy in Reanimator. So yeah, definitely recommend this one, especially this Arrow video release. Very cool, a lot of fun, and the creature effects. Regardless of how I felt about it back in the day compared to the second one, the creature effects are fantastic. Some vintage Screaming Mad George stuff right there. And if you guys would like me to cover anything, any of these I've talked about today, just let me know. I actually wouldn't mind covering The Guyver in depth if that's something folks would want to see. And then the last Blu-ray release of this Christmas, or last Blu-ray I got, was the Expendables pack. This is one I was talking to, once again, Al from Them's Fighting Words. And neither of us had seen the Expendables movies for whatever crazy reason, even though it's up both of our alleys completely. So we both sat down and started kind of watching them. Not together, but kind of, sort of. Like I said, share a brain, that sort of thing. So yeah, the Expendables. Very late to the party, but I thoroughly enjoyed the first two. Third one, not as much. Now actually this year, that Lordy set that I reviewed not long ago was technically a Christmas present. I just went ahead and opened it in order to do that review, and then put it back, wrapped or whatnot, and put it under the tree and didn't open it till. But you've seen it, so I'm not going to be showing it again. And the first CD I got this year was the new Crazy Licks album, Street Lethal. And Crazy Licks is an 80s hard rock style band from somewhere overseas, Finland, Sweden, somewhere around there, where all the good music actually comes from. Yeah, they are great. I really, really like this group, and I really recommend checking them out. And then the next album I got, and this is a group that my buddy Hyde6 turned me on to, and that's Windrose, Winter Saga. And Windrose is essentially what I call a dwarf metal band. Yeah, I guess technically people would call them folk metal or whatever, but they dress like dwarves, they sing about dwarves, and they just have kind of a whole dwarf thing going. So yeah, dwarf metal. It is a ton of fun. I mean, if you're into fantasy films and D&D stuff, this is the soundtrack for you. I highly recommend go look up the video for Diggy Diggy Hole right now. And another, I guess it was kind of like I posted, was kind of a rockin' Christmas, and I got the newest, even though it's not that new now, when did this come out? A couple years ago, but the latest Lizzie Borden album. And Lizzie Borden is definitely a favorite of mine. I know certain horrific Jasons can relate. Really good stuff, just great classic kind of metal. That another one of those groups that, oh, look at that, you can really see the reflection of all my recording stuff in the CD face. Hopefully that doesn't show up too much in the whoopsie. But yeah, another group that just very unfairly gets called hair metal a lot. Yeah, they had hair, but I mean that's about it. I'd say if anything, they were more proto power metal with a bit of shock rock involved. Good stuff. And the last CD I got, and this is one that had a devil of a time tracking down, but glad I finally found it. And that is the Shogun Assassin soundtrack. And I talked about it a good bit in my Lone Wolf and Cub film review. But this is a phenomenal soundtrack, and really the best thing to come out of that Western release of Lone Wolf and Cub. That synthy, kind of almost Italian horror movie sound set to a samurai film. Really unique, but really awesome. I mean, you need to check out those movies anyway, but yeah, good stuff. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's a few other, kick the camera, a few other little top secret things that I'm not at liberty to talk about or show. Hopefully folks enjoy this. I know some folks really dig hauls. I don't particularly watch a lot of them unless it's like a buddy or like someone really charismatic like Bryn or the aforementioned Al. Have I mentioned Al this episode? I don't think I have. Oh, Jay's super awesome that he knows how to do a haul. But regardless, either way, hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, keep it wacky.